Hello guys! In today's video, I want to talk about something really interesting that I have read in the last year in one book that it is about our wild side as a human beings. So, like even though we live in modern cities, we have all the society, we study at universities, we use technology every day, we still have something very primitive inside of us. So the big idea is maybe sports exist because they help us compensate for this wild side. So this idea comes from the book Billions and Billions Reflections on Life and Death at the Turn of the Millennium by Carl Sagan. Such a good book. I really recommend you all read that book. So I'm going to give you all two big questions that it is going to lead us to some reflections. That it is, why do we feel compelled to watch people running, looking for the ball, or punching each other? Why does this need appear in almost every culture in the world? Like since the Egyptians, the Greeks and Romans, they love competitions. The Egyptians played ball games. The Mayans and the Aztecs also play some games like that. So why do we have that interest for esports? So, another interesting thing about society, like how society treat athletes, it is that we treat them like idols. Like, look for any sports star. A lot of times they earn many times more than political leaders, like the president, like 50 times more the president's salary. Why this happens? Like for the scale of society, isn't that the president should be the like the biggest one, the more respectful? Uh, so the question is, why do athletes become national heroes? However, the answer may be deeper than money or fame. Maybe sports touch something very primal on us because most sports are connected to a city or a nation. So we have that thought about fighting against the enemy. So my city against your city, my country against our country. I'm going to come back with that thought about we against others. That it is an intrinsically human thing. So it's more like a symbolic conflict, like a war in the sports. So there's the interesting thing is that in a war, in a real war, we use the same language to a sport. Like we defeated them, but or another expression, we lost the battle, we lost the game, you know. So we kind of have that connection between our war and sports. And I'm going to bring a reflection that it is something we really have to thought. So let's say you're just flipping channels on TV and find a soccer match, and any of the things that are playing, you don't support anyone. You don't even know their teams, so you don't have connection to any country that is playing. So logically, you could just watch the game, enjoy, and don't take any sides. However, most people don't do that. Like, after a few moments, we start thinking, okay, I want this thing to win. Like, I don't know, anacondas versus crocodiles. Oh, I like crocodiles. I'm going to support this team and I want they to win. And you start cheering for them. Yeah, they make a goal. We're going to win. your anaconda shit. Something like that. So why do we do that? Why do we take sides? Why couldn't we just enjoy the game? Because we humans want to become and belong to a team. We have to be in part from a group. That it is an intrinsic human thing, and that's a good thing by your side. Like we have all the nation identification, but there is a bad side on it. But let's change the topic. Uh, we are hunters in the past, so before we became sedentaries and start practicing agriculture, a lot of times mans, the cavemans, run for kilometers, throwing stones in an animal, chasing animals like antelopes, like another other animal of the time. They surround the wide world together like a group, and they kill the animal. And most of time, the human beings make this together with strategic. Isn't that sounds familiar with sports? There is a strategic in sports with strategic, with teamwork, and with identification. We are part of a group, of a tribal. We have to hunt that animal to bring like a trophy that it is the meat of the animal for our tribe, for we be happy. Isn't that some semblance on esports and on hunt like in the past? I'm going to give you just that reflection for you think. So for thousand and thousand generations, something really interesting have happened. Humans may have developed a natural predisposition for hunting, teamwork, competition because they had to compete with another tribals, but they had to have teamwork and strategic to hunt some specific animal and physical challenge. So there is so many similarity about esports and hunting in the past. So however, things like how to build a spear or an arrow are not in your genes, but those things are taught because and mainly taught from the human ability from telling stories. That could be another good video because we have the evolution because we tell our experience for our sons, for all the tribal, for all the group, for they learn with it. So the taste of for competition, from teamwork, from physical challenge might actually be part of our biological hardware. So today, of course, we don't hunt antelopes anymore. However, we still run, we still compete, we still form teams and work and have the teamwork. We still celebrate the trophy. So maybe sports are basically a modern and safe version of hunting. Something that it is in your hardware and we need it. So esports allow us to release energy, aggression, and competitiveness without real violence. Of course, that there is the physical contact, but the contact, and sometimes there is fights, mainly from supporters. Like here in Brazil, just happens a bad thing that it is Grêmio against International. No, I am wrong. Atlético Mineiro against Cruzeiro. Yes, those two. Uh, and there is a bad fight against the players, like players against the players. And that game, because of that fight, there was more than 50 uh no 50, I am wrong, sorry, more than 20 suspensions from all the players. And badly after that, the supports of both teams start fighting. So my final lead to a final touch, it is, of course, if your ancestors were hunters for millions of years ago, maybe this instinct is still inside of us, and we use it, like we express it in sports. However, modern life is very different. We sit, we study, we work on computers, so maybe sports are a way to reconnect with that anxiety, that past part of ourselves. But maybe, like the example that I gave to you guys from the fight about Cruzeiro and Atlético Mineiro, maybe Monday Night Soccer is not enough for the modern hunter. And this sometimes just blows away, and then we fight. Not for a trophy, not for the ball in the soccer game, but we really fight. And not like UFC, that it is really a fight, it is something right, and fair. But we fight, and we just let that instinct take us, and maybe this is bad because we are not more hunters. That's today's video, guys. A reflection that I have reading that book in the last year, and I wanted to make a video about it. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. See you. Bye bye. Take care.